to Talk Flirty Podcast, the podcast where life is reflected through intimate conversation with me, your host, Nikki F. Wett. Welcome to the first episode of 2019. Thank you for coming back to Talk Flirty Podcast. Today is Sunday. No, today is not Sunday. Today is Saturday. Today is Saturday, January 5th, 2019. I want to thank a lot of the persons who have listened to the show, downloaded the show, who have shared the podcast, who have stayed with me through this journey. I know that my shows have been few and far between, and I just want to thank everyone for their support. I also wanted to, I'm kind of rushing through this episode. A little tidbit, a little behind the scenes. I did the chicken head to the intro music. I don't know why, but that's how the beat radiates through me. And so I'd be a little winded when it's time to start the episode. But I am also doing just like an impromptu recording because I had the craziest dream this morning. Usually when I have a dream, there are points or things that you would, you look up, you research. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and Google what the symbolism is. What is the spirits trying to tell me? What is the universe saying? This dream, not so much. I think I'm going to just express it in a short story and then leave it. I'm going to leave it there. But also on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and all the other places that you can find Talk Flirty Podcast. So it won't be too left behind. Anyways, the dream, it kind of started off a little bit risque. I wanted to call it a sex scene, but it's not really, I don't think it really constitutes as a sex scene because it's only one person. I wasn't too sure why it started off that way, but I'm going to have to be honest. I was home alone Friday night and I was getting ready to go to bed. It was a little early. I did, before I went to sleep, I did get a friend of mine hit me up, like, what are you doing? Are you going to First Friday? And I'm like, no, I'm going to have to sit this one out. I felt kind of bad, like, because he and I have been trying to plan to get together because we usually hang out. We used to hang out quite often. This is I've had him on the show. He is the owner of Vegas Black, which is the 8-man semi-professional football team here in Vegas. And so we just haven't been able to meet up. And so I was thinking to myself, you know what, damn it. I should get up and get dressed, but at the same time, I just got food. Like, I just got food. I'm hungry. And so I had to sit this one out. I went ahead and made my food, and I made it a blockbuster night. And I say a blockbuster night because even though there is no such thing as blockbuster at this moment, it was a blockbuster night because I had to watch my Fire Stick remote doesn't have any batteries. But I also have a Roku streaming stick. So I had to go old school. I guess we could say old school. We had to go back and use my Roku stick so that I can watch Netflix. And this Roku stick has a Blockbuster app. I don't know, it doesn't fucking work, but it's on there. I'm not too into battery operated items, so a lot of my products don't have batteries are fucking expensive. So this Fire Stick remote has been dead for quite some time and shall remain that way until I decide to buy some fucking batteries. But speaking of batteries or non-battery operated items or things, I had to pull out. I call it Aquaman. It's a cute little glass dildo with like a blue rib around the shaft. It's pretty, but we shall call it Aquaman. And that's how I ended up. After that, that's how I ended up falling asleep. So I think that is the reason why the dream started off that way. But so that's the intro of the dream. A little self-love, self-gratification. And what's so weird is when I finished, my mom walks in and she's like, I don't have a clue why. I don't have a clue why I was living with my mom in the dream, or I don't know if I was living with her or not. Or anyways, so my mom comes in and she wants me to go to the store. So I get up and we're walking down the stairs. And then she turns to me and says, I know things are not working out the way you plan. If you need the help, you can stay with your grandfather. And I'm like, okay, like in the dream, I'm processing it like, okay, sure, that's an option. I'll look into it. But in real life, I'm not sure what this exactly means because my mom's father has passed quite some time ago. I think I was maybe still in middle school. But in the dream, basically, she's like, you can stay with your grandfather. So I don't know. I never made it to my grandfather's. Maybe he had a nice house or something. I could be able to live rent free or something. I don't know. But so after the conversation with her, I began my venture to the store, and I'm walking to the store. So I don't have a car, and I'm not sure why I don't have a car, but especially in the dream, like, do you just get to manifest like whatever you want? Anyways, that's not it. So I'm walking to the store, and I end up meeting these 4 girls, and they're young girls, like really, really young girls, like. And we're talking about the most random things, and then all of a sudden they initiate me into their gang. They initiate me into their gang, and they're showing me, the symbol, the little hand sign and shake that they do for their gang, which was the Marias. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes you just don't even explore why the brain comes up with certain things. But anyways, the gang was called the Marias. And the the way the hand signal, the signal for the gang is you do, like, you know, the little rock symbol, which is supposed to symbolize like you know, you do the little, you fold your middle two fingers down with your thumb, and then you stick your tongue out in between your pinky and your forefinger that's up, right? But so that's the symbol, the hands, the pinky and the forefinger is up, the two middle fingers are down, and you interlock the hands with another person, kind of like how like lesbians do like tripping and stuff like that. Don't ask me, I watch a lot of porn. So so you interlock your fingers like that, and then you lick, and that's how you greet each other. So I don't know. And I'm looking at this stuff and I'm like, I'm not finna do this stupid shit. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, how the hell am I gonna get out of this? So I asked them, I'm like, how old are you guys? And they're like, we're 19. Like, all of them were 19. And I was like, oh, you don't want my old ass in the gang. I was like, I'm 33. And they was like, oh, no, it's cool. And so, and so I was like, oh, okay, well, I was like trying to act like I couldn't do it. I just couldn't get it right. And so after that, the next scene is we're walking to the car. It's like this burgundy, like maroon car. And it's kind of some type of like old ass scraper, or like, I don't know, old school type car. And everybody, like, the girls already had like designated seats or designated ways that they enter the vehicle. One person, like two of them went through, two went through the back, like the trunk. So maybe it was maybe like a hatchback type car. So two went through like the back, and me and another girl went onto the passenger side, and I simply went to go ahead and lift up the front seat so that I could get into the back seat, and it like slid out like this motorized, like, I don't know, ottoman. and then all of a sudden this girl, she's like, good luck. And I'm thinking to myself, good luck, what are you talking about? And then the car shuts off. So I guess I was not supposed to lift the seat up like that because it will shut the car off. So anyways, they moved the seat back, start the car, and instead I had to climb into the back seat through the front seat. And I don't know why the other girl, so I had to climb over the girl in the passenger seat and then climb through the two front seats to get into the back seat. And I'm not sure why I had to climb over this girl. Like, I could have just got in first and did all of that, and then she could have got in, but no, that's not how it happened. And so we're driving, and we end up going to like this, I guess you could call it a trap house. I don't know, but there were like kids laying on the floor, laying on the couches and things. And then there were like a group of guys who were like also sitting on different couches and things in the living room. The TV was very tiny, and like the floor was like very like run down and matted down with like crumbs and things all over the place. Like that dark colored carpet that's like dirty hotel carpet, like dirty Motel 6 blanket carpet. I don't know. And I have no idea why I am following these 19-year-olds. And so say hi to everyone because I'm walking into the house with a group of fucking guys, and I'm like, okay, well, this is awkward. Hi, I'm Nikki. Da, da, da. Nice to meet you. And I stand in the corner, and the girls fucking disappeared. I don't know where the hell they went. So I'm standing in the corner, and one of the guys who was sitting on the couch, he's like, has a little boy sitting next to him. I don't know if it's his son, if it's a younger brother, cousin, nephew, whatever it is. But he like turns to me. He was like, here, let me give you my number. You know, if he was like, we had like a little casual conversation. I was like, yeah, I'm new to Vegas. I've been here for a little over a year now. And he's like, oh, well, let me give you my number. So if in case you need anything, you can just, hit me up. And so I pull out my phone because I'm thinking he's going to just give me his phone number. He gets up and walks and stands in front of me. And I'm like, okay, in the dream, I feel a little bit intimidated because I don't know who this person is. I'm in this weird home, this weird space. You could have just told me what your phone number was while you were sitting on the couch. But, so he gets up and he stands in front of me and we're getting ready to exchange phone numbers. And then he pulls out these like 2 large wads of money and he stuffs it in my pocket. And I'm like, I go to take the money out of the pocket and the wads of money is so like large. Like I couldn't even I tried to take it out of the pocket and out of my pocket and it spilled, like I dropped it on the floor. So I'm trying to like scoop the money up to give back to him. And he was like, no, here, go ahead, take it. Go ahead, take it. And I'm like, no, I don't want not $9 that is in this stack because I don't know what I'm going to have to be obligated for or to if I accept this money. So I feel like if I interpret that, I feel like, because what I was thinking, I was like, oh my gosh, they're trying to get me the prostitute. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't live this kind of life. And so I was like, I can't accept none of this money. So I give him all the money back. And then he don't even give me his number. So I was like, what the fuck? I guess that's what it was. Now, in the dream, it was like cutscenes. So it wasn't like smooth transitions. It was like cutscenes. So after the whole money thing, I ended up like, I had fallen asleep. And so I ended up like the next scene was me waking up. And I'm asleep in this corner and I open my eyes and I see like I'm surrounded by like 3 niggas. And they have their face covered. Like, you know how on like the Gangland and like the In My Hood DVDs, you know how the guys wear like the bandanas and then they put the t-shirts around their head and stuff, so you're supposed to not know what they look like. So that's what they had on their heads, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I feel this pressure, like there's something poking me in my stomach, and I look down and they have guns pointed at me. And the one that was like up close and like had the gun actually poking into my stomach. I don't know, I guess that was like, they were like, when I woke up, they were standing, but they were asleep. So like they were not moving. And so I said, I have to use the bathroom. And nobody moved. And I was like, I have to use the bathroom. Nobody moved. I went to like tap his shoulder, like, I tried to gently wake him, the person who had the gun in my stomach, and he pulled the trigger. And I felt like, and he pulled the trigger like multiple times. And like every time he pulled the trigger, I felt like this like pressure, like I could feel like, but I wasn't actually being shot. So like, as far as like Okay, so, and I don't even go to the bathroom. The next scene, the next scene is me being escorted by the guy with the gun into the garage and into the garage and my clothing, I don't know where these clothes came from. I didn't have no clothes when I pulled up with these girls. But on like into the garage, we went into the garage and it was like this big old like chop shop. So there were guys working on different cars, and there was a car that had different bags, which had one bag had wigs, one bag was full of wigs, one bag had like clothes and things. So it was like three or four different bags. And so I'm standing in the garage and oh no, I'm sorry, I did skip a part. I did go to the bathroom. He has been escorting me. So he escorted me to the bathroom, and I had to use the bathroom while he was standing there. And after I was finished, he looks at me, he's like, "Your hair is long." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Your hair is long and pretty." And I was like, I looked in the mirror and somehow my wig had come off. Like somehow I wasn't wearing the same hair that I was wearing when I got there. And I had these little like, like how you would do your hair in like, you would part it and you would do different puffs with like rubber band. You tie it off. You tie it off and you end up having like different puffs. Like the guy that had the sucker. Did he have the sucker? The guy who had the sucker in Boys in the Hood. That was a terrible comparison. Like the guy who had the sucker in Boys in the Hood. But I'm pretty sure somebody knows what hairstyle I'm talking about. Anyway, so he's like, "Your hair is long." And I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? Anyway, so then from the bathroom, he escorts me to this garage. And that's where they're working on the cars and things. And I'm putting on my wigs, like, so I can get ready to leave. And I finally choose a wig. I put it on. Went through like 3 different wigs. I finally found a nice lace front that was braided in 2 French braids. And I put that on my head and I wrapped a bandana and I grabbed all of my items, and then I had like a poster board or something, and I dropped the poster board. And in the chop shop, the cars that they were working on were like in a circle, so I couldn't get to the other side of the car where I had dropped the poster board. And so I'm trying to find a guy to get the poster board for me so that I can be on my merry way. And I go to call out to one of the persons who was working on the car, and he like completely cusses me out. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I just left the poster board. And I started walking. And then in this dream, I don't have a brother in real life, but in this dream I had a brother. And I had my brother come pick me up, and my brother was Lil Fizz, like back where Lil Fizz had the ponytail. So it was Lil Fizz with the ponytail, and I was telling him about the whole ordeal. And that was just, the conversation we had on the way home. And that was the end of the dream. I'm not sure I want to explore what that means exactly. What it could have just been, just a random freak dream. But that was interesting because I really wanted to keep that money. I wonder what the ending would have been if I had decided to keep the money. I don't know. That's to be continued. I've had the same dream, like continuing the same dream, like over multiple nights of sleep or different times of sleep. So if I revisit this dream, then I will, of course, bring it back to the show. But now, but yeah, I honestly thought it would only take about 10 minutes to tell that story, but we are approaching the 27-minute mark. I did want to just get online and start the year off with episodes for 2019. I have dubbed 2019 my black ass year, and what I'm going to be doing is spending as much as my dollars as I can in the black community, using black owned vendors, and I also assist with like promoting. So the podcast, I'm not going to touch on anything that's going on in the media right now because I think I might just ride to TP2 after this episode is finished. But I do, the podcast is Talk Flirty Podcast is a podcast where life is reflected through intimate conversation with me, your host, Nikki F. Wet. And I do have it as more of a open forum. So any person who has any type of artistry or thing that they want to promote, you are free to hit me up and we can schedule an interview / promo for you and yours. Again, Talk Flirty Podcast is not so much a gossip or current events type podcast, although some things will be discussed, but it's more so just casual conversations with different peoples or unique insights into my life, like this fucking dream. But again, like I said, 2019 is my black ass year, so I have no objections to any person in any community supporting their own and practicing, that. And honestly, we all should do it. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this show because it was just a little impromptu recording. I wanted to get something on the airwaves for you guys and just start strong for the year of 2019 and keep this same energy throughout 2018 part 2 / 2019. But as always, you can reach out to Talk Flirty Podcast on all social media platforms. Talk Flirty is one word. Second word is podcast. You can always email feedback and show topics or request to schedule an interview at talkflirtypodcast@gmail.com. What else? Yeah, don't forget to download Spreakers, subscribe or follow. You can also don't forget to follow, especially on like Instagram or Twitter. I'm probably going to use those more often than my Facebook page. It's quicker. It's a lot more simpler. And yeah, so that's going to end this first episode of 2019. Again, I want to thank everyone who has been supportive throughout the whole Talk Flirty podcast duration, and those who have listened to more than one show, because I know I apologize. I could have uploaded more shows and I didn't, and that was my fault. So new year, new podcast. Stay tuned.